first live product update of 2021 with myself, Jonathan Steele, and of course, my good friend and colleague, Jamie Barton from the GraphCMS
Hey,
team. How's it going, Jamie?
not bad. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm surviving. Yeah, it's obviously we're in lockdown here in the UK. Grim winter months, wet, windy, cold, but plenty of work going on and very
Yeah,
busy at GraphCMS. So excited to show some of the stuff that the team have been working on. Um, so
definitely.
we did a few of these streams last year. Um, we didn't really do them that regularly, but we decided to bring them back. So here we are. New year, new us, January. We're going to
Yeah,
make this a monthly thing. Would like people to keep us honest to that. So yeah, I mean, if you don't much of a video viewer, obviously you can get updates via our blog, which will be shown later, and as well you can get all these updates directly to your inbox if you're subscribed to our newsletter.
yeah,
But yeah, so we're just going to talk about some of the new stuff that we've shipped the back end of last year, and yeah, Jimmy's going to take over for the first exciting feature.
definitely. Yeah. I've just seen there's a comment that your video isn't coming through, so um,
Oh, great.
I don't know if there's anything we can do to enable that. Um, if there's something wrong there, uh, maybe switch source or something. But anyways, I'll just kind of talk about it, and we'll just go through that. So I'll just mute you if you want to have a look at that. That's fine. So yeah, as Jonathan kind of said, we we recently introduced the Content Federation, and this is something Michael, our CEO, kind of spoke at length on the blog. And this was, this was a new milestone. Would you agree, Jonathan, for us at GraphCMS? Oh, maybe he's gone. Yeah, so he's gone. Yeah, so the Content Federation was kind of a new milestone for us at GraphCMS. But really, we set out to kind of transform this idea of API-based CMS and transition away from just being a content manager to being a system where you can bring all of your content sources in, and we can, you can source those pieces of content from different services and bring them all together. So we still don't see Jonathan, but we can't hear him either, so I don't know what's going
I,
on there.
I am here. Sorry.
You are there, yeah. Technical difficulties. It's
I,
January 2021.
this is bizarre.
Let's
I can
let's.
I can literally see myself in the stream we're using, but you can't see me and nobody else can. So
Weird.
I don't
Never
have.
mind. We'll just picture you. What
I did
what
my
you
hair
look like.
as well.
So
So
yeah. Never mind. You've done your hair. Never mind. We'll see you next time. So yeah. The Content Federation. We've got a whole blog post on that and how you can kind of use that. And it kind of talks about what it is and why we're doing this. And really, like I say, it's just a way for you to kind of connect any web service and APIs to your GraphCMS content model. So if you want to query for something, you can query for data from GraphCMS, but you can also query that data from another API as well, which is really cool. And this has been made possible with the introduction of remote fields, and you can obviously see about that in the blog post as well. But Jonathan, you've used remote fields over the last few days, in fact, kind of diving into those in a bit more detail. What stands out to you there? What are remote fields, and how does this enable the Content Federation that we've introduced?
So I think remote fields is a game changer, and it's something that we have. We felt the pain points of working with numerous APIs in the past. If you go back a year now, looking at the old swag store that we have, and that we were using a separate PIM for that, a dropshipping PIM called Printful. We had to kind of manually manage that relationship and pull in data via. We were actually doing it inside of Gatsby's GraphQL layer. So with Gatsby, we can obviously kind of bring multiple GraphQL schemas and APIs together. But now with this, we're abstracting that even further to the actual the GraphCMS level, and having a single GraphCMS schema that brings all of your content in one place. So taking that context of shopping or e-commerce. You could have a GraphCMS product, and it actually ties to your inventory elsewhere, whether that be kind of Shopify, BigCommerce, commerce tools, that kind of thing. But then you've got that rich content editing experience that you might get with these PIMs, and you get that inside of GraphCMS. So that's just a very basic example, and obviously you're not limited to a single remote API. You can certainly bring in multiple remote APIs, and that's the idea of federating all of these services into a single API. So it's really powerful, and it's really easy to get started if you're on an enterprise plan.
Yeah. So that's one thing to remember. Obviously, this is something we're expanding in the product to be available to enterprise users. And you made a good point earlier on with the whole Gatsby thing. A lot of the time when you were kind of connecting a lot of these APIs, you kind of had to rely on doing it yourself, whether that be in something like Gatsby, where that can kind of take in the different data sources, then you kind of bring those together. But also, some people were just kind of creating their own servers, their own kind of proxy layer in front of GraphCMS, and that would allow you to go and proxy to another service and whatever. But now, with the introduction of the remote fields, you can get going. There's this early preview. Kind of, it just allows you to offload all of that complexity with and offload it to GraphCMS, which is really cool. We'll take care of the heavy lifting of making those requests on your behalf. So all you need to do is kind of create the schema, and you've got the docs open there. We walk through all of the setup and things involved. So it's really cool. I think it's going to enable a whole lot more here.
Yeah, this is, as you said, kind of super early, but we're really excited about this. We want to kind of get it out there. It's not currently available in the web app, in the UI, so you have to use our new management SDK, which allows you to manage your schema programmatically, whether that be adding fields, updating fields, etc. So you have to create remote fields via this. However, the actual method to do that, the configuration to do that is quite powerful, and it's very simple to use as well. So it's not that daunting to get stuck in. I'm actually working on some examples around this to kind of be public soon on our examples repo, and also a wider, larger kind of reference application that will utilize these as well to show you how you can pull in data from other REST APIs.
No, it's I'm excited to kind of try it out a bit more. It's certainly something I haven't spent a huge amount of time with, but I'm really keen to learn from your examples, and I'm really keen to see what our users do with this. It enables so much more, and I think it brings me on to the next kind of point of the update. One of the updates we kind of brought out sort of end of last year, early this year, was the management SDK, which you've got open here in the docs. And this is a way to control and configure and create your GraphQL schema inside of GraphCMS without really having to touch the web app, the UI. There's no real need to log in and use that schema editor to add fields and relationships. You can do that programmatically, and this is a great example for maybe it's a testing environment or somewhere you want to kind of spin up a new staging instance, or any kind of CI process where you've got changes to things happening. You can programmatically control those changes now, whereas before, it relied on kind of moving around a UI, and when you've got a site in production, or wherever the head is in production, it can be a bit daunting having to kind of go, oh, I need to do this in the UI before it's public. That kind of is part of a process, not typically that some kind of server or kind of deployment process would take care of. And the management SDK, it's going to enable this use case even more. And it's still an early preview. We're super excited about that, and would love for all of the feedback from anyone that has used it. We're keen to get more feedback, so if you're interested in trying it out, please let us know. But I think it's really cool, and I'm excited about using it. It just allows so much more. There's lots of ideas here.
It's definitely a useful tool for somebody that has been importing a lot of data into GraphCMS. it's definitely a useful tool in that regard. So you can programmatically create your schema, and then once you've created your schema, you can actually go ahead and obviously use the API mutations for your project to actually import that data. So you don't even need to go in the web app at all, other than creating the project. So you still need to, at the moment, you still have to create projects inside of the web app, but it's pretty extensive. The management SDK, you can create pretty much all kinds of fields, enumerations, relational fields, of course, remote fields. So it's very extensive, but definitely something people should check out if they are at all looking to level up their schema management.
Yeah, and if while this is kind of tagged as a enterprise feature, by all means get in touch, and we can talk about enabling this on your account, so you can kind of see if this is going to be the right fit for you. I certainly think it enables so much more, and I'm really excited to see what we do with this in the future. And as we add more to it based on the feedback from you, this is going to be a real killer feature.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, what else was new? I'm trying to think. What else did we release? The Slug Field? That was quite a new addition. There's so much going on. I think the Slug Field is definitely something that's new. This is pretty cool. I don't know if we've got any user guide for it. You may need to pop into the user guide section in the docs.
Let's see.
Okay. I think there's a page in there for the Slug Field. Yeah. So the Slug Field, it's UI only, and what this allows you to do is kind of automatically set templates for default values. So as you are editing content, say a title, for example, you can specify a template for a slug, and that will automatically be generated as you type in. You could say, okay, this is to be lowercase, it's to be hyphenated, whatever. You set that template yourself, and it will then interpolate whatever value you pass into that field. You can overwrite that if you wanted to, which is cool. But yeah, typically a lot of people in the past used to create a slug field that was just plain text, and they had to manage that themselves. And typically a lot of people were just kind of converting their text into lowercase and hyphenating it the majority of the time, or they were adding some other field on there as well. And we'll do that for you now. So it's just like a little nice addition we released that I think is going to improve the editing experience.
Yeah, it's really nice that this is computed and that it's not, as you said. So for example, if you created a slug field template that mirrored a title field, for example, if you were having a blog post, you had a title field, you might want to slugify that for URL sakes. You obviously want a nice human readable slug of your blog post title for the URL. This field will do that for you automatically. So if you were to fix a typo in the title or amend the title for whatever reason, the slug will be automatically recomputed. You wouldn't have to manually manage that yourself. So that's really nice that is taken care of. And that's one thing that I've used Hasura quite a bit recently for a separate project. And they obviously are much more bare metal. It's like SQL. You've got to write your own SQL query. You essentially do all that. We've got a nice URL wrapper around that. UI wrapper around that. So you've got a nice interface to actually create that, set the rules and things like that. So it's a lot more user friendly, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to load up the application now. I have this in here, and like you say, it's just so much easier to kind of go in here and create a field. So let's call this a slug. We can say generate this from the template. So I'm just going to generate my slug based on the title field. Obviously, you can do all of the same things as you could before with field options and validations and things. And then I'm going to pop over to content editing and going to create a new article. And then as I type, hello, Jonathan, you can see now here down the bottom, this has automatically been created based on the title. That was the template that I defined. Now, the cool thing here is, yes, that's done it. It's in the UI. This can be thought of as a default value. So now you can go into this field and you can customize it. So maybe there's something in here that you want to kind of customize a bit further. you can just start typing in the field. And of course, if you don't like what changes you've made, you can easily regenerate that and it'll go back, or you could clear the field. So yeah, that's just a nice little addition to the UI that makes that experience a whole lot nicer. There's no need to write functions. There's no need to kind of do any background work in managing your database or whatever. We'll take care of that with the UI. So I'm really pleased about that. It's a nice little feature that pretty much every, some form of content model that I create will need a slug, because, it's a nice human-friendly way to, add in a URL somewhere. And it's just pretty cool. It's nice to work with this now.
It's a feature that a lot of people don't realize that they miss or they want until they actually have it. So you think, oh yeah, I can manage slugs myself, no problem. I can just, I'm just kind of slugifying it, no problem. We've obviously got the validation there for the field. So even if you just used a string field, you can still enforce slug validation. So sure, it's URL friendly.
Yeah.
But the fact that it's now automatically computed for you, a lot of people didn't realize they needed that until it was actually there. So it's super, super helpful to have. And it's one of my favorite smaller additions that we've added in the past few months.
Yeah, definitely. So what's next on your list? Things to talk about.
What's next is, I believe, and I'm not sure if there's a blog post for this. Yes, there is. We have a new server region available for projects, and it is based in Canada, Montreal to be specific. So if you are a GraphCMS user in Canada, we have a more geographically appropriate data center for you to use now when creating your projects there. So it'll be much faster CDN for you. So check that out.
Yeah, definitely. And that's available now. When you log in, you're able to kind of create your project and store your content there. So that brings the total of 5 data centers now for where content's stored. I think it's 5 now we offer. And obviously that's just where the data's stored. We've got content that's served from the CDNs, hundreds of CDNs. So yeah, it's cool. It's cool that we've got that there now. And yeah, I think the other additions sort of this month and kind of the late last year was just a ton of different bug fixes in the UI. There's been, the significant updates around the UI just to make it a little bit easier. We've kind of squashed some of those bugs that we had reported. So if you do run into anything that seems a little unusual or something's not in the right place, just reach out. Use the intercom button on the... it's on the right-hand side, but we're going to move that soon, and that's going to appear on the left of the web application. So just send a message in there. Me, Fabi, you, any one of the team will pick a message up. We'll happily talk about any feedback you've got and pass on any bugs to the relevant, people in the team. So, yeah, I didn't have really much else to say today other than kind of those cool, I say much else. There's a huge amount of new stuff that's arrived. I think the best place is the blog for people to kind of get up to date and in the documentation, would you say?
Yeah, definitely the blog. Like, we haven't, obviously this is the first one we've done of these for a while. We want to make them more regular, but for sure the blog has updates every month. Ronak does a good job with those. And obviously just coming across this there that, we've been working on so much that we kind of forgot about our Vercel integration, our Netlify integration as well, which we launched in the web app. There's a ton of stuff. There's a ton of stuff coming. But I think for now, for January, that's enough, and we'll be back next month for sure with more.
Yeah, and hopefully next time our viewers
will be able to see me. Yeah, I mean, it's so strange. I can literally see myself in StreamYard.
Cool.
But nobody else can, so no.
Well, we'll all just wait in suspense to see you next month. So yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in. Feel free to reach out to any one of us on the team through our website, on Twitter. Follow us individually. However you want to get in touch, we are always willing to hear what you have to say. We're always keen to see what you're building with GraphCMS. We've got a whole Slack group as well, so you can join in the community, see what everyone's building, and throw your ideas in the ring, and we can build the best CMS in the world.
Yep. Looking
Cool.
forward to sharing some more stuff next month.
Definitely. Well, I think that's it. I think it's a wrap.
Including my face.
Yes, including your face. Okay, we'll see you next time.